Hey everyone, welcome back to Cerebral Tackle. I appreciate all you guys being here today. Please do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, get ready to comment, and let's get this party started because today I've got a story that took place here just a couple of years back, and it's a lot of fun and kind of unfortunate, but with all the talk about breaking tournament rules going on around, I figured now is as good a time as any to share it with you. Now to set the stage a little bit, this was around August of 2020, right at the start of the pandemic, right? And well, it was that time of year for night tournaments, the grueling 12-hour all-night night tournaments, which I love. Love some night fishing. Well, it was that time of year, and I had to miss one due to my health and my wife's health at that time. Now, while everyone left the lake knowing who caught what and who placed where, the places were formally announced at the next club meeting. Now, being the fact it was the start of the pandemic, some folks could attend in person, some folks couldn't. So for those that couldn't, they arranged for us to be on speakerphone and to listen in so we could participate in the meeting. It was always customary that as the money spots were announced, each angler would tell a bit about their pattern, what they caught them on, and kind of how that evening went for them. My wife and I are there listening on speakerphone, and we go around the horn and get to the first place finisher. And his story starts kind of like this. Well, I went to my first spot and I caught 3 nice good fish. So then after fishing a little too long, I packed it up and said, well, I got to get on down the lake to get some more fish. And I got down to my next spot, opened up the live well, and my 3 fish were dead. So I threw them back, but lucky for me, I caught 3 more on that next dock. Wait, time out. Whoa, what, huh? Whoa, you say you just caught dead fish? Now, when I first heard this come out of his mouth, I thought he had to have been joking. Literally, I thought the guy was kidding. I didn't know this particular dude that well. I just had a couple of run-ins with him, nothing big. So I thought he's got to be kidding. So immediately, when I hear it, I let out a ha, thinking it's a joke. Then I notice no one else at the table is laughing. Everyone's quiet. Then the light bulb goes off above my head, and I go, holy crap, he's not kidding. Homie threw back 3 dead fish. What do? I put the phone on mute so that I can cackle to my heart's content. I mean, I am laughing my arse off. Why? Not only did homie just admit to breaking the law, not just tournament rules, but the law. They're on speakerphone during a club meeting. But I know that everyone else that's at that table in person, that their butts are puckering, because they knew I heard it. And they know that if anyone wasn't going to let that crab slide, it was yours freaking truly. So yeah, I had heard him right. Homie got to his second spot, realized he had 3 dead fish in the live well, threw them back, caught 3 more, went on about his day, didn't tell anybody until the club meeting. So you can bet that the moment that meeting wrapped up, well, one of the officers, his phone is ringing, and yeah, it was my name and number on the caller ID. Personally, I didn't know how in the hell we could just let that slide. I've seen a lot of stuff, a lot of rule infractions, and a handful of disqualifications. I've never seen anyone toss back not 1, not 2, but 3 dead fish into the lake, call them, weigh them in, win, and be allowed to slide. That just doesn't happen. So the officer who I call, yeah, he looks at the caller ID a second. He answers. He goes, yeah, CT, I know. I heard it too. We're handling it. He already knew it was going to come out of my mouth, which oddly made the whole situation even funnier. It was decided by the tournament officials that the infraction was not deliberate. Because if it had been deliberate, who in their right mind would go break that law, not only a tournament rule, but that law times 3, throwing away game fish, waste of game times 3, culling dead fish, and then go on to say that's how he won the tournament during a club meeting? Who would do that? So, by deciding that it was not deliberate, they let it ride. They did. They went ahead, they let him keep first place. Which was interesting. The officer I called, guess what? He was second place. The victory would have come down to him. That was his victory, not only in standings, but in money. That was his rightful tournament. He should have been the winner of that tournament. Now with this group, I was not an officer. At that point, I had hung up on my wall the mantle of being an officer, whether it be president, tournament director, federation nation, liaison, whatever the titles I've held over the years, secretary, didn't matter. I'm done. I don't want to be an officer anymore. So I'm kind of glad it was their fight to fight. At the same time, I always felt it was a little dirty that we let someone who culled 3 dead fish walk away with a win. Yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea. It's not how I would have handled it. Don't get me wrong. It is not lost on me what an awkward freaking situation that is. I mean, obviously, if the guy knew it was illegal and against the rules, he wouldn't have ragged himself out. But again, it's your job to know the rules. State laws. Freaking state laws. That even goes beyond tournament laws. That's state laws. Anyway, they let him slide. It is what it is. I didn't have a lot of recourse. Could I have thrown a fit? Yes. Would it have worked? No. They're going to do what they're going to do. But it is something that just kind of stuck around with me. Now, if any of these guys in this organization ever stumble across my channel and find out that's there, well, guess what? Maybe you shouldn't have pissed off somebody who knows where the bodies are buried. Just saying. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't always bad times with this tournament organization. I had a lot of great times, and a lot of the guys are very good dudes. I really enjoy them, like them, friends with them to this day. But this was just a situation that really rubbed me kind of wrong because it's not how I would have handled it when I was in charge of a tournament organization. We'd have done things differently. But like I said, at this point, it was somebody else's job. I had hung up my belt in doing that job and didn't want any part of it again. Because you got to remember that out of the 18 years I spent tournament fishing, I was some kind of an officer or person in point of charge for, I don't know, 12, 13 of them. So more years than not. I deserve some time to finally just show up and fish, like they say. I put in my time. I enjoyed it. It was rewarding, but I was done. So there's a story about how an angler showed up at a tournament, culled 3 dead fish, and still won the dadgum thing. Freaking weird. Glad I've only seen that instance one time. Oh my gosh. It was good for a laugh because my laughter when I heard him say that so honestly and candidly in that meeting was genuine laughter. I was laughing my butt off because I thought it was a joke. Then when it wasn't a joke, somehow how awkward it was and how awkward it made everyone else at the table knowing that I had heard too, made it funnier. You couldn't have planned a joke any better. Anyway, there you have it. Well, it's getting that time of year again for night fishing as we speak, and I plan on having a video about that kind of good stuff coming up for you, including a new tool I found that I think will help you during night fishing coming up. But until then, get your gear together, get all packed up, get it ready, get tied on, get out to your favorite lake, and keep it wet.